Hi, this is Rainbow Harmony here to help you find balance and peace to live a more colorful life. And welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be here again with you guys for another pick a card reading. And this is a reading for if you are feeling down. So if you are crashing out right now and you somehow found your way to this reading, then maybe there is a reason. I cannot tell you guys how many times I have been going through something or having a moment and I just go on my feed and all of a sudden a really beautiful, healing, kind, uplifting message that feels like it's almost perfectly tailored to me pops up. And I love the girlies and the people who have channels and who are putting stuff like that out there. You know, it's always nice when you have friends and people you can count on, licensed health professionals, awesome tarot readers like that to turn to when you're going through something. But sometimes it's just nice to let this information just kind of find you. So I love tailoring my algorithm, filling it full of positive, uplifting messages, things that I want to hear, things that affirm to me that things are getting better in my life. So I'm just hoping that if you find this message, that it ends up being one of those types of messages for you. Something that's just exactly what you're meant to hear, where it's almost like creepy, you get chills, you get goosebumps. I was really trying to make this reading kind of similar to how some of my original like OG readings here on the channel were like, where I just kind of flowed. But I do have a tarot spread, because I think this reading will be even more accurate if you pull cards along with me. So here is the spread that we're going to be covering today. So the first part of the spread is going to be what's weighing on your heart. So what's like the emotional root or kind of the hidden cause of your sadness or why you are feeling down. Okay? Next, we're going to just do the classic, what do you need to hear right now? So maybe like a message of comfort or truth to lift up your spirit. Then the last part of the spread is your quiet strength, a reminder of your inner power or a hidden resource. So if you're interested in receiving this message, all you have to do is just relax, take a deep breath, and in a second here, we're going to choose a card. But first, I wanted to let you guys know that this week I am offering $10 off my readings. It's actually going to be raining a lot this week, so I think I'm going to be spending a lot of time inside. So I figured, you know what, I don't really have a huge backlog of orders right now, so this is the perfect time to offer a sale. Especially because we're going through Mercury retrograde, we've got Neptune and Saturn, I think, also retrograde. I don't know, there's like a lot going on. The energy's been a little like intense the last few days. And that's why I wanted to make this reading, because I don't know, I found myself feeling kind of down. I needed to turn to the tarot. I had to like do some journaling. I got some uplifting messages and I thought, you know what? Maybe there's a chance that the Rainbow fam is also going through it right now and feeling it. Look, I just pulled the Moon card. Yep, a lot of changes, a lot of shifts, a lot of decisions that need to be made. You know, it's also kind of the ending of a season. We're about to transition seasons here again. You know, it kind of gets you in your feels. So we're going to get ready to choose these cards. But yeah, check it out. Check out my sale. I have chats available if you just want to hang out and chat and pull cards. I can also record you your own personal video. So feel free to email me if you have any questions about that. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you, love to connect with you and see what's going on in your cards. So yeah, if you'd like to choose a card and receive this reading from left to right, you can choose number 1, number 2, or number 3. Once you've chosen, head down below to the comments or description where the timestamps are posted, and you can just click on your timestamp and instantly be fast forwarded to your part in the reading. And I will see you for your reading soon. For those of you guys who choose number 1, let's get into this reading. And we're going to start with the first card here, which is the card that you chose, and the first part of the spread. So what's weighing on your heart? The emotional root or the hidden cause of your sadness? And we're getting the Ace of Cups. It's really interesting. This is usually a very positive card. It's about giving and receiving, and it's actually a card of culmination. But you know, when I saw this card, I instantly had this feeling that you gave somebody a gift, you gave somebody a piece of your heart, or maybe you wore your heart on your sleeve for someone, or you gave your all to some type of situation. This could be giving your all in a relationship and just being vulnerable and putting all your cards on the table. This could be giving like 110% of yourself at a job. Or maybe putting all of yourself into an idea. So this just gives me the impression of somebody who gave 100% of themselves to something, and maybe it didn't go the way that they wanted. Maybe things didn't pan out. Maybe that energy wasn't returned. Maybe eventually it just came to an end and something better came along, but there was some type of loss associated with this. So that could be part of this emotional root, the hidden cause of your sadness. You're going to have to check the cards you pull too. This says deal with anxiety. Of course, that's always a thing, right? Accept your mistakes. I like that. Maybe there's this message here too, that you have so much coming in for you right now, that there is so much coming to a culmination, that you're about to receive so much, or you're in the process of receiving a lot. There have been a lot of manifestations that have come through for you recently. Maybe you've been checking things off your list, or you've been achieving goals. So this could be a message. There's a part of you that's afraid the other shoe's gonna drop. They're like, deal with anxiety. You know, the cards are saying to accept your mistakes. Not everybody is perfect. Nobody walks through this life without making a couple mistakes along the way. That's how we learn and we grow. Sometimes we have to stop holding ourselves accountable to a past version of ourselves and let a new version of ourselves step forward. Allow ourselves to become a new version of ourselves. Sometimes that new version is just the person you've always been. You're just accepting yourself more. I don't feel like I'm done here. Oh, look at that. Expecting the worst. Self-fulfilling prophecies, sleepless nights. I've definitely been there before. So this is something that's weighing on your heart. You could be losing sleep over it. Over this loss. You know, you gave something to someone, you gave your all to something. Maybe it didn't pan out the way you thought. Maybe this whole situation is still in transformation. Maybe you don't need to judge it just yet. Maybe this energy just still needs some time to settle. Maybe this isn't where your story ends. You can't always judge yourself on like a random circumstance or a random phase in your life. You can't judge the harvest of a tree by the way that it looks in winter, you know? You could be going through a little personal winter in your life. Honor the cycles and seasons in your life. It's okay to go through a little personal winter. So there's some anxiety going on, having difficulties accepting your mistakes, gave your all to something, someone, or to a situation. It didn't pan out the way you thought, or maybe like you still aren't really sure where it's all going. Been having maybe sleepless nights, kind of expecting the worst. I deal with this a lot, expecting the worst. I've really had to work on reprogramming my subconscious mind and to start choosing to see more positively, start choosing to expect better. But you can't just go from 0 to 100. You can't go from like really bad anxiety, expecting the worst, being a little negative, You know, sometimes it's normal to feel like that when you've had a lot of trauma, or you've just been through a lot, or you just recently were like going through a grieving process, or you lost something, you know, or there was a big change in your life, or maybe something bad did happen, you know. Sometimes we just got to be real, like if there was like a death or there was a major loss. Sometimes it's like, yeah, something bad did happen, and that's life. Bad things are gonna happen sometimes. It's so frustrating, and it'll just hit you out of nowhere. That's the one thing. Life is gonna come for you. It's gonna get you eventually. Something's gonna go down. But it's how you handle it. It's kind of how you allow the process. You fight it too much. You fight the current. You know, a lot of it's about surrender. A lot of it's about allowing. And part of that too is allowing your emotions. Deal with anxiety. Sometimes it's just realizing, wow, you know, I have been really anxious lately. I've been dealing with so much anxiety. Been hard on myself, you know. Maybe thinking a lot about the past, or maybe worried about the future. I'm seeing a lot here, you know. There's a lot weighing on your heart. Different for different people. Check your spread to, you know, along with this. But there is some emotional roots here. So despite that, what do you need to hear right now? A message of comfort or truth to lift your spirit. Because even though you're going through all this, that doesn't mean that's where your story ends. You know, your current situation is not your final destination. It's okay to have a bad day or a bad week. Sometimes it's hormones. Sometimes you're in your luteal phase. Sometimes life comes for you. There's something that goes down. You got to deal with it. What's a message of comfort for you? What do you need to hear right now? Well, the first message is that you're not alone. I see like a close friendship, somebody nearby you, somebody who's maybe going through something similar. This could be somebody in your family, like a brother or a sister. Maybe you're getting closer to your family through all of this, because sometimes when you're dealing with these anxieties, you've been through a loss, sleepless nights, like it's just having a hard time. Maybe something went down. Sometimes you realize who really has your back, and a lot of times that's your family, or sometimes it's your chosen family or your close friend. Sometimes you get closer to your roommate during that time. Sometimes you nourish friendships. Sometimes you bond with someone actually through like trauma, a little bit trauma bond, or you grieve with somebody. You get closer to someone because you both share like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I just went through a breakup. Oh, me too, you know. You connect with that friend you heard about. Oh yeah, I heard that they also like lost their, this person in their life. Like, let's reconnect. Oh yeah, she also just lost her job. Maybe you guys can connect, network together, you know. Sometimes there are things in life that kind of go down, that fall apart, that kind of crash, but like in the middle of that you meet somebody, or you're led to a new path where you literally like fall in love with somebody, or you meet a really good friend. It's unexpected situations and circumstances, sometimes that's divine intervention. So don't be so quick to judge things that like you're losing, or that seem to be falling apart, or it doesn't seem like something's working out the way you wanted, or you're looking around in your life right now and you're like, this isn't what I wanted, or this is crazy. Like, I've been in so many transitional phases in my life sometimes where like if I looked around and like judged it, I'd be like, oh my gosh, but you gotta keep moving forward towards your vision. You got to keep moving forward towards your vision. That's what this is about. This is like so much energy coming in. The clouds parting, like the darkness leaving your life. Maybe, coming out of a fog, or healing from a depression, or like an illness, or maybe an injury. This could be health clearing up. This could be your perspective changing feeling more positive, seeing things more positive, opportunities coming into your life. I always love the Eight of Wands. It's like activity, it's commotion, it's like new people entering your life. It's like things are about to get busy, you know? And I also feel like maybe you recently made some bold decisions. This is the Page of Swords. Like maybe you recently cut out some things from your life, like cut out some bad habits, or you maybe cut out some people from your life, or switched jobs, or, you know, moved neighborhoods, or made some big life changes. Making big life changes usually has to do with, like, you always have to leave something behind or lose something in order to gain in this life. There's like a energy, like, exchange that's happening there, a balance that's always happening there. So you're constantly, as you flow through your life, you're finding yourself like basically having to give up a lot of things in order to receive things. It's a dance. You can get in harmony with it for sure, but other times it's rocky. It can be rocky, you know. And look, I was just talking about basically the concept of this card, Temperance. You see that? That's how you master life. You get good at the dance. You get good at the flow. You start understanding the natural cycles and seasons in your life. You start getting more in harmony, more in step with yourself. You start gaining more wisdom from your experience. That doesn't happen, though, without making mistakes. You know, I've come far. I still have so far to go, though. I think about a lot of mistakes I made in my earlier journey and in life, and I think about how far I've come, but, you know, we're a work in progress, and that's okay, too. This is about allowing your life to flow naturally, looking around and asking yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I make better decisions moving forward? Self-awareness, all that good stuff. I feel like this message that's coming through, maybe the message you needed to hear to lift your spirit, is to just trust the process. It's bringing good things and good people into your life. Don't judge this energy just yet. You just made some bold choices, so there's gonna be consequences. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. In some ways, the choices you make will backfire, might ruffle some feathers, might upset some people, might be awkward or difficult, might be hard, gonna require lots of changes, or like you have to build discipline, but it's worth it in the end. You know, keep choosing yourself is a message here. Keep choosing yourself. So I'm excited for where this message is flowing to. I think I'm going to work with these cards now. These are really fun. What do you need to hear right now? The last part of the spread, your quiet strength, a reminder of inner power or a hidden resource. So let's look into your inner power. What is your strength, no matter what's going on in your life? What strengths do you have? Your hidden resources. Well, there's this message here that you still have a lot of admiration from people around you, and I just feel like love towards you from some people in your life. Like, your circle might not be huge, but the people that are close to you really do love and adore you. And I just feel like, despite the chaos you might feel going around in your life right now, and look, at the time I'm doing this reading, it's Mercury retrograde, okay? It's Saturn retrograde. It's also Neptune retrograde. Things could be a little chaotic. It's going to be chaotic in the next week or two until the energy settles down. So just keep that in mind. But it's almost like no one around you would know that you're dealing with this kind of internal chaos. So there might be a part of you that feels like, oh my gosh, my life is up in flames. But the truth is, like, you've got this under control. Let things chill out for like a week or two. Your perspective is going to change. Your ability to make decisions, move forward, that's going to ease up, I sense. And you're just in the process of realizing some things in your life that are unhealthy and that need to be released. And that happens, you know, these cycles kind of, it reminds me of like a garden, or a crop. You're doing certain things with your plants and the soil, and then you kind of test it, let time and the elements do their work. You come back out and you realize, oh my gosh, like this isn't working, or a pest is getting to it, or oh gosh, I'm overwatering it, it's going to start getting root rot, or you as time goes on, you're going to have to realize there's certain things that need to change. What used to be healthy or helped you get through something in the past might not be healthy for you anymore. A certain lifestyle you had, certain habits you had, certain ways you were living, maybe that was good for you on your earlier journey, but it just might not be good moving forward. You're going to have to make changes. You're going to have to step into the shoes of the person you want to become. You don't have to be perfect. You can go with the flow. But it's time to release some things. And I just feel like success is on the other side of this. You're making some adjustments. You're getting ready for like an era where you're going to be in the sun, where you're going to be shining, successful. And that admiration card, like I keep seeing like people admiring your work. Maybe it's your artwork. Maybe it's you're getting featured in something. It could be like a movie that you work on is being released, or I keep seeing like production. It could be hanging your work on, in the galleries. It could be hosting or having some type of event, celebration. Maybe this is a wedding. Maybe it's the birth of a child, graduation, a highlight in your career. Whatever success is for you. It does feel though like this type of success that's coming though has something to do with like everybody being around you, or people seeing, or like a lot of applause, or connection, or something related to family, home. There's this message coming out that sometimes these phases in our life where we're a little bit more introverted are important. Now, if you're being so introverted and it's going on for years and years and years, and you're like becoming a hermit and you're not taking opportunities or going out in the world, that's a whole other thing. But I think sometimes we panic when we have well, first of all, I think a lot of people panic lately ever since what happened back in 2020. I feel like my YouTube channel is pretty much already shadow banned at this point, but I don't want to like raise any alarms here. But basically, you guys all know what went down back then, 2020. I think whenever you need to recoup and rest and go within and maybe be at home more or be in your sacred space, it can be triggering because we all went through that just a couple years ago. And so it's like so many people feel like they need to push themselves and be out there and be super extroverted and just like almost like make up for lost time. Or yeah, it can be triggering when you feel like you're resting and hermiting or taking time within. Not only just in general, but because of what happened. So there's this message, look, like sometimes you need to go within more. It's okay. Sometimes going within literally means going within. It means being within your home. It means being within your sacred space. It means maybe spending more time in nature, or it's not putting yourself out there as much, or it's maybe focusing more of your focus in your life towards healing, maybe your health, your body, So these times are important because it's these times that allow ourselves to go out and to share, maybe like the pearls of our wisdom. It's like diving down deep, in our own kind of internal waters to bring these pearls up, these pearls of wisdom, these pearls of art, these pearls, out to the world. There's this message that you're worthy to share yourself, to share your journey, to share your wisdom, to share your gifts, to share whatever it is you want to share with this world. And look, yes, you can share online. You can build platforms, and there's so many ways you can do that. And I think that's what's amazing about this modern era. But you can also share in your community. Maybe like you do just need to get out there and start your art account or your TikTok or your Etsy or whatever, but maybe sometimes it's also about like being at the local market or at the local level or with your friends or family. Sometimes you got to start there, but basically you're worthy to be seen, to be heard. There's this message that your quiet strength here, your inner power, there's a message that you've been successful. You're going to continue to be successful. And something's coming, you know, success quick. I love these cards here. Like, maybe you're feeling antsy, a lot of anxiety because you're just very energy sensitive, and you can sense that there's some big opportunity coming, or you know you're like ready to make some changes. So it's an exciting time for you. Anyways, I'm getting carried away. I hope that this message resonated with you. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. Let me know what you think if this resonated with you, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. For those of you guys who choose number 2, let's get your message. Ooh, we're getting the King of Pentacles. So the question is, what's weighing on your heart? The emotional root or the hidden cause of your sadness? So what's going down deep down, basically? What's going on inside of you? What is this emotional root for why you're feeling down, or if you've been feeling down? So this is the King of Pentacles. This is money. This is finances, or this is your relationship or connection with money or finances. Okay. This is also very masculine energy. This could be about your relationship with the masculine. It's funny because when I see this card, it's like some of you guys, or a lot of you guys who are here are women. Not all of you. I know there's some men here, and those of you guys who are on different, you know, spectrums of gender. But I hear somebody who's watching this who's just like thinking like, I really want a provider male. I really want a provider man, or I really want, like, I want my money and my man. Like, these are the two things I want. I want love and I want money, and I feel like I'm struggling with my finances, or I feel like I'm struggling. I'm not, you know, in love, relationships, feeling lonely. So, and you know, that's pretty typical. A lot of the readings that I do for personal readings is people wanting to check in on their love life, people wanting to check in on the finances. How can we grow this? What's going on there? And that's why there's a whole suit of pentacles in the tarot deck, because it's such a huge part of life, you know, your relationship with money and resources. And, you know, we don't judge. Everybody is at their own personal, you know, spot in this journey, and everyone has been born into a different set of circumstances, and it's an interesting era on the planet, to say the least, when it comes to how we consume resources, how we distribute them, and everything in between. There's a huge, you know, change and shift going on right now. A lot of, you know, countries are experiencing economic crises. It's rough, you know. So there's a part of you maybe like that you're worried, like caught up on a lot of fear about this, or things are shifting, changing for you in this area of your life. But basically, this is kind of what's weighing on your heart. So let's see if we can get into it deeper. I mean, it's hard. It's kind of awkward, stressful to talk about. You know, feeling stressed about money, feeling stressed about, like, you know, dating life, or just feeling really lonely. I remember in the past there were times where I was like really single, like felt chronically single, and like a lot of times you're just like feeling good about it, and then sometimes you have those days where you're like, oh, I just really like miss my ex, or I really wish I could just, you know, everybody's walking down the street holding hands right now, you know, or it's Valentine's Day. It's rough, you know. So there's this message, you know, calling, discreet. Oh, this is also a message like there's a part of you that feels like perhaps you're going to, like, maybe you're finally admitting to yourself that you want to make a lot of money, that you want to be wealthy, that you want to be rich, that you want to have more luxury or more abundance in your life. Sometimes, you know, it's hard to admit that at first. Sometimes, like, deeply we don't feel worthy. Sometimes we are raised to believe money is the root of all evil. Sometimes we go through difficult times, you know, with money. And sometimes it's even when you have a lot of money or have a lot of resources, sometimes more money, more problems. Not always, but it could just be about managing the resources. There's a part of you that knows it's your calling to be receiving more on a larger scale, because you want to give more. You want to live a softer life. You want to give more to your family, Maybe you want to give more to yourself so you can give more to the world. You want to give more to your children, or you want to give back to the world. And maybe you have a really big idea, a big business plan, but you're like, I need the funding for this, or I need the capital, you know? Or maybe, yeah, you want to basically make an investment. Calling, discreet. It's like deep inside, there's a part of you that's like, you know, you have this calling to do big things, to do great things, to live like a softer life, a more luxurious life, to level up. Like, you have this vision of yourself being the King of Pentacles, basically leveling up, having a lot of resources, and you know, this too, like, he's got the wand in his hand as well. I see him delegating a lot and investing a lot, and just being able to invest in so many different projects. You know, it's like you envision yourself being able to just light all your creative ideas on fire because you have all these resources, connections. This is also about like building too, like building your dream home, getting that property, like from the ground up kind of energy. Or maybe this is about investing in real estate. Big visions, you know. The King of Pentacles is like, I'm an entrepreneur, or like I'm gonna build this from the ground up. Like, I'm someone who gets rich, like somebody who just rolls their hands up, isn't afraid to get them dirty and like build something from the ground up. Like, I always respect these types of people, the King of Pentacles kind of energy. And this doesn't necessarily mean you're a man or woman or whatever. It's a vibe, you know. But whenever I meet somebody like this, they're usually like very strong Capricorn energy, Earth energy, and you know, they've got a long history, long track record. You can trust them. I feel like in this placement for you, what's weighing on your heart is just like you have this big vision. You see yourself, King of Pentacles energy. You have a calling, like deep down inside. You know what you want to do. You know what you want to create. Maybe your vision's getting clearer, but you're just like, I don't know how I'm going to get from where I am, or how am I going to get this investment, or how am I going to get the capital to make that happen. And really, it's just about improving your relationship with your root chakra, how you manifest money, your relationship with your money. But something tells me you're already on that journey. Like, savings are happening, there's new job opportunities coming your way. There's like, you're leveling up. You've been leveling up. Dazzling instincts. Yeah, you've been the kind of person in your life where you've just been trusting your instincts, kind of just going with the flow as you've been living your life. Maybe you never really had any crazy plans. You just kind of flowed with yourself, your natural gifts, the people you met, the connections you made, jobs you kind of feel like you just ended up in. It's like you've just been taking it as they come. And there's this message, you can keep doing that. Maybe you're afraid, like, I need to organize more, I need to plan more, but there's like there's something beautiful to the way that you live your life. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You really are in the flow. You can trust yourself, you know, your instincts, dazzling. But you might need to start refining things, because when you start realizing, okay, I don't want this anymore, like this job I've been in for 3 years, it was perfect, it got me moved here, like it got me through the door here, supporting me while I did this, but now you start realizing, okay, no, I need to level up, that's not working anymore. Maybe it's just the place you're living. Sometimes it's relationships, you know, okay, this person, we're not vibing anymore, you know. And sometimes too, you're realizing, I'm just so tired, my energy's being drained. What's draining your energy? You know, is it the endless scrolling? Is it the diet? Is it you need to get sunlight, work on your circadian rhythm stuff? Is you need to balance your hormones? Oh gosh, so many things. Balance your hormones. Time to go to physical therapy, move your body, stretch. Just pick your poison. There's always something you can do to improve your energy, your health. And usually it's not something you can buy, or like a pill you can take, or it's like you got to do the work, you got to show up every day, you know. There's this message here that, yep, you've been tired, your finances, you're frustrated, and maybe you're waiting for a message, a text, like to read, checking your email. Did you get the job? Did you, is this coming through, the payment, whatever. I feel that. So what do you need to hear right now? I got kind of carried away. Basically I'm just tapping into what's going down for you. But what do you need to hear right now? A message of comfort or truth to lift your spirit. There's almost this message, like, just like how I kind of got sucked into that part of the reading, maybe it's almost like you can spiral down and focus on all these things that are going wrong in your life, or just the ratchetness or the messy parts. And because that's life, there's gonna be some messy parts. Sometimes it's funny. Have you ever watched somebody who is just like really type A, super control freak? And look, if you're like that, sorry, I don't mean to judge you, but I'm a little bit more type B, so, we're just gonna judge each other a little bit. Love each other for our differences. But have you ever watched somebody like that basically have something go down where they don't get their way? And kind of watch, like, how rough that is, kind of watch, like, like sometimes we have these such extreme reactions to these little things that are happening. It's basically triggers, and I think part of self-awareness is understanding your triggers and being able to work with them, being able to emotionally regulate, being able to help yourself find peace, being able to more and more to be able to let go of control, allow the flow of life sometimes to take you where it needs to take you. Allow yourself to let go of the perfectionism a little bit and just show up. I feel like you're changing a lot. You're letting go maybe of some of that rigidity. And I've been through times in my life where I clung to things, or I just tried to cling and get control, because that's, sometimes what feels familiar and what feels safe. And change can be scary because it's the unknown. Like, that's the number one fear most people have, truly, is the fear of the unknown, or the fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. But look, you strengthen those muscles when you continue to show up, rejection therapy, right? When you don't self-abandon, when you're present with yourself and you choose healing, purification. This is literally like maybe detoxing your body. There's been a couple times in my life where I literally had to detox my body because of health issues or whatever that was flaring up. There were times that I had to like detox what I was listening to or what I was watching, because it just gets you in bad vibes sometimes if you're watching like too much true crime and listening to like music that's like kind of depressing, or if you're watching TV shows that are like filled with a lot of gossip, drama, and stuff like that. Sometimes you got to just kind of detox a little. You don't want to be one of those people that's just super pious and, on that next level, wearing white, everything's detoxed, get all obsessed with it, get orthorexia or whatever they call it. It's about balance, right? But sometimes you got to detox. You got to detox yourself. You got to detox your body, mind, soul, spirit. I've been doing that a lot lately. Healing from like giving birth. I've had to, and becoming a mother, I've had to like really center myself, detox, heal. It's been a whole process. So there's this message here, like to just, to motivate you almost. You need to hear, like, it's funny, it's almost a card to me as the reader telling me like that you need to be motivated. And maybe, something that's motivating me is knowing I'm not the only person on this journey right now. I'm not the only person who's healing, who's detoxing, who's showing up and trying to take care of themselves every day and just do better. There's some people in this life that are just spiraling down, and sometimes that's why you part ways with people, because you're like, wow, you are spiraling and I cannot go there with you. It's more than just someone going through a hard time. Sometimes you realize this pattern of people who are just repeatedly spiraling, and you choose peace, you choose yourself, you choose to walk another direction. Sometimes you got to get away from things that make you spiral, environments that make you spiral, make you feel down. You have a lot of strength in you. You're stronger than you think you are. Sometimes it's hard to detox, to choose better, to leave old habits behind. And that's what this is all about, you know? You're releasing so much right now because I think you're making room for like this vision you've had of yourself and your future for a long time. I feel like you're already that person now. You're already the person you want to become. It's just almost like it's right around the corner, like everything you want. Yeah, you're going to have to make some sacrifices and you're going to have to get ready. So just this kind of purifying, spending time with yourself thing makes sense. Maybe that's kind of why you're feeling down. It's just you're having to like pull a lot of your inner strength together to like work hard to become this new version, better version of yourself, level up. And it's taking a lot of strength, it's taking a lot of determination, it's taking a lot of discipline, you know. And it's funny, I got the twin flame card and then the earth card. I'm not really sure why. And this card isn't like literal, like this is your twin flame, somebody meant to be with you forever kind of thing. It's more of a vibe or energy, just like soulmates or people who come into your life at the right time. Or sometimes I like to remind people this beautiful quote that I love, which is, you're never alone. The universe always sends someone. Whether it's like a kindred friendship, or it's you know, maybe the person you end up marrying or on a life path with or something. Sometimes these times of transition in our life end up leading us to meeting somebody cool, or, you know. This earth card here too, sometimes we just need to connect back with nature. Like I went on a walk today, even though it was really cold, and I hadn't been out for a few days because it's been raining a lot here. And whoo, oh my gosh, I felt like a new version of myself, just connecting with like the trees. Sometimes you gotta get back outside, you know. I don't think things are as bad as you think they are right now. I don't know, I'm just flowing right now. It's like, this is what you need to hear. So let's leave this on a really positive note. Your quiet strength, a reminder of inner power, hidden resources. So what hidden resources do you actually have in this situation? Let's remind you of your inner power. I can feel the energy kind of healing already. I can feel the heaviness lifting. It's like we're doing a healing here together, you know. That's what I love about tarot. You approach the tarot sometimes with a lot of questions, fear, worry, anxiety, and, you know, it gives you that opportunity to reflect with yourself, relax, breathe, and you leave feeling more uplifted, more sure of yourself, like just feeling like you had a chance to connect and think everything over. Well, there's this message that the worst is over, okay? You're leveling up right now. You're heading to like a rebirth time in your life. You just went through like a death cycle. You're heading to a rebirth cycle. So things are only going to get better from here. You're getting confirmation. And now you just need to make new plans because a lot has changed. Maybe you're just dealing with like, okay, I'm not who I was a few years ago, and some plans and ideas I had, things have changed. And things have shifted in the world too. Like I personally have been having to change some of my life plans or some of my strategies, some of my ideas of like goals, things I'm working towards because of things that have shifted in the world. So, you know, you're not alone on that. There's a lot shifting, and sometimes you just need to shift with that. So what I'm seeing here is that justice is coming for you. Things are becoming more balanced. Somehow you're going to get word, or you're going to get wind that whatever that thing was you had to leave, that toxic workplace, maybe it's getting shut down. You know, your ex, you might find out, ooh, they going down. Something happened with them. They in jail. Or just kidding. Or they're, you know, it's like you don't want to wish bad on anybody. You want to wish people that they heal and that they're happy, so they don't go around hurt other people, or that they do better, you know, wish the best. But karma's for real, and there's just messages. There's going to be justice coming your way. Things will be balanced. You know, if somebody owes you money, you're going to get that back tenfold. If you lost something and you're trying to recuperate it, just let it go. You're going to get so much better. It's like when I was in Costa Rica, oh my gosh, it was amazing there. I loved living there. But I just didn't take into account how harsh the environment was going to be, and it literally ruined all of my clothes. And I took all these beautiful, like, designer things, like things I had been gifted, just like one of a kind. Like, a lot of my clothes got ruined. And on my travel journeys, that is one of the hardest things that has happened to me. I had to mourn that I had to let it go, you know? But I was able to, like, change up my style and obviously get new clothes and get new things and bring new stuff into my life. And, you know, I got so fit when I was there. Just eating all the fruit and running around at the beach that, like, I wouldn't have fit those clothes anymore anyways, and I had to move forward, you know, and it was like justice. It was something good happening. I ended up somewhere I got to go shopping and just get all the things I wanted after and just, like, kind of shine as a new version of me. Sometimes things get ruined and destroyed and you lose things and you're so upset and you're, like, freaking out, and it's like you identify so much with it. But sometimes we have to let things, like, sometimes literally physical things, go so that we can receive something better, you know? I don't know if you've ever dealt with a situation where you, like, had mold in your place or bugs or something. I've heard a lot of stories from clients where they've had to, like, get rid of everything in their place, or, you know, something like that goes down where you have to just sometimes release everything, move, start over. Sometimes it's like a relationship that breaks down, you know. All I know is what you lose is going to be replaced with so much more. You go through those periods in your life, though, where you just kind of feel naked and vulnerable, like everything has been stripped away, you know. And it's freaky. It's freaky, right? But you just gotta hang with it. You gotta trust yourself. You gotta make a good friendship with yourself, you know. Start building trust with yourself, because you've been through this before. We've got cycles and seasons in our life. You've been times in your life where you felt vulnerable, where you felt in a transition, where you felt like kind of waiting for something to come through, or in between opportunities. And you've received what you wanted or what you needed and so much more. You got a really cool opportunity, or you leveled up in your life, or you got out of that situation, or you, you know, received something, were able to celebrate something. Justice, that's what justice is about, you know. Things moving back in your favor. It's funny, it's like your quiet strength is just remembering that, like, life is a cycle and you've been through this before, and that you're always going to end up on top. It's the kind of person you are. You're always going to end up on top. It says your skilled work is going to be rewarded. It says, you know, you're someone who opens your heart so much to people around you. Like, you have a community that supports you. You're going to continue to be given to. There's just good energy here. I hope that this reading helped you. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Peace out. For those of you guys who choose number 3, let's go ahead and get into this spread. So, what's weighing on your heart right now? What's the emotional root or the hidden cause of your sadness? Like, what's making you feel so down? What's going on? So we're getting the 9 of Swords. Oh gosh, this card. You know, there have been so many times I've actually gone to the tarot deck, like, crying or just, like, going through something, pulling cards, and then you get this one, which is always kind of like a mirror. You know, if you pull it in that moment where you're going through a lot and you're upset and you literally feel like this picture, and you pull it, it's like a little mirror. So I feel like this card right here is almost just showing you, like, you're going through this for a reason. You know, everything's coming up to the surface. A lot of stuff is boiling up to the surface right now. It could have been, like, things you repressed, stuff from the past. Sometimes we really internalize with a lot of, like, shame some of the toxic things that have been said to us or projected onto us. And I think it's interesting that here in this image is a woman, especially as women, there's so much shame I think a lot of us carry just because of how women in specific are treated in this society. But hey, the patriarchy isn't good for any of us. It's difficult on men and people who are, you know, are on other spectrums in the genders, you know, as well. So what I'm seeing here is a lot boiling up to the surface. Some internalized, you know, shame or maybe toxic thoughts, or just kind of, we go round and around in our heads sometimes with a little bit of worry and anxiety. Things kind of boil up, fear, you know, what if I don't measure up? What if I don't make the cut? What if this never happens? What if I don't get what I want? What if, you know, I'm stuck in this circumstance forever? Or what if they don't feel the same way? Or what if I never get what I want? Or what if the worst happens? Or, you know, fill in the blank. So what I'm seeing here is there's a lot of fear, you know, a lot of fear of the future. And that's okay. It's normal. We all process and go through fear. But it's almost like we do have to train ourselves what to do, like to recognize when we're in those states and how to combat it, you know, how to work with that energy, you know. There's this message that says right now you actually are in a position where you're going to be stretching your wings, you're going to be flying soon. Like, it's time to assert yourself, your independence, your creativity, maybe even take a little risk, a leap of faith. This is like the Queen of Wands, basically. She's going out there. She's making a name for herself. It's two such different energies here. This could be like what's going on behind the scenes, deep down, but how you're getting ready to put yourself out there. Sometimes we have to get ready to do it before we feel like we're even ready. Sometimes we have to put ourselves out there before we're ready. There could be some big opportunity you've received or something that you committed to that you have to follow through on. And maybe you've just been feeling like this, but you can't give up now, or it's such a great opportunity, or like you're receiving a manifestation or something you wanted, but you're still processing something, you know, it's that kind of energy. Answers. You could have recently got an answer to something, but it wasn't what you wanted, or you found out like the cold, hard truth about something, or maybe it's just like your frontal lobe developed finally, and the rose-colored glasses you were looking around at life wearing have kind of faded. Maybe you're feeling a little disillusioned at life. But you'll get those rose-colored glasses back. You know what I've learned throughout my journey is that they come and that they go. There's times where, you know, you're going to look around and be so excited and so happy and so thrilled. And there's going to be times where you're not. And the whole scenery and the whole situation around you could be exactly the same. It's all a matter of your perception. So what I'm seeing here for you is like pulling yourself out of this. A lot of it's going to have to be perception, because things are going to change overnight. So you're going to have to find a way to be cool with where you're at now. And if that's why you're upset, that's the frustrating part, is you can't usually transition out of where you're at right now until you learn to master it. So you have to find a way to flow with it. Yeah, discreet. Maybe behind the scenes. It's like breaking down and crying in the bathroom. Maybe life just has to go on, but you're like secretly mourning or grieving something, or been going through a hard time, you know? Something serious went down. Oh man, you know, if the tarot cards are saying that it was serious, that you got a story to tell. Some of you guys, when you get readings from me, look, I got my own story. We all do. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, you have every right to be upset. Like, this is some real stuff you've been through, you know? sometimes just receiving that validation helps, you know. You don't have to carry this alone is the message. There's this message to get it out, like make some art, journal, talk to a friend, someone in your family, or like a licensed counselor, therapist. Sometimes we need to go to therapy. Sometimes we do, you know. Sometimes we need to work with a licensed professional. Talking to a friend, journaling, tarot readings, stuff like that. Even coaching, that helps, but sometimes we gotta buckle up and do the hard work and talk to people that are better equipped or have good tools for us. Might even be about health too. Maybe it's like you have to seek out health care. Maybe that's been coming up in a lot of readings lately. People working on their health, getting stronger, working mental health too. It's like you have to make a commitment to yourself every day. I know, because I could go on a long list of my diagnoses or whatever. You know, I do deal with CPTSD, you know, also on the spectrum, dealt with depression, anxiety. So you got to wake up every day. You got to be focused. You got to know what you're dealing with. You got to realize, man, I've just been down, you know, for a long time now, and I got to start fighting this battle. You know, it's good to allow the depression or to allow it a little bit, feel the feelings, but there comes a point where like we're enabling ourselves to be in a state of inaction or in a state that's not healthy, and we got to learn to pick ourselves back up, you know. So that's what this is about, transforming into the Queen of Fire, becoming the phoenix rising from the ashes, basically making those little commitments to yourself every day. Sometimes it just starts from like just getting up at a specific time, dragging your butt out of bed, getting that morning sunlight, you know. Eventually, over time, you can start habit stacking. You start getting workout in or taking some deep breaths, some stretching, meditation, whatever, you know. Build your dream little routine. Get yourself out of bed feeling grounded. Those habits in the morning, habits in general, going to help you build a life you feel more confident in, you feel more comfortable in, you feel is more self-caring. And sometimes you got to change up the vibe for where you're at in life, what your goals are, you know. I like to hit the gym really hard when I'm trying to work towards goals, because that discipline and commitment kind of travels over to, you know, whatever project I'm working on. But sometimes I got to shift, and when I'm in more of a healing phase in my life, I have to do more restful things, restful activities, things that help me more retreat within. Serious. Going through some serious stuff, weighing on your heart. So what do you need to hear right now? A message of comfort or truth to lift your spirit. What do you need to hear right now? Yeah, you know, it's interesting. There's this message that you are, oh man, something you've been working on is really coming to fruition. I see like a legacy you've built. I'm getting this message about like the last 5 years, 6 years in particular, but I also heard something about 10 years. And I see someone who's just built and built and built. And there's also this hermit energy, like you've had to pull back, maybe say no to things. I keep seeing someone who's like really studious, studying really hard, or maybe you're getting the degrees, or you're checking some goals off your list, or. But then I also see something about deciding like you don't want to go on that path anymore, or like never mind, or like I'm done with that and it's time to move on to something else. I've had this happen a couple times in my life, or maybe even in my career. Like at one point in my life, I started this online fashion magazine because that was like a thing in the 2010s. And man, it was so cool. Like I got all these people involved, and it was just a really beautiful part of my life. I had a lot of fun with it, but there came this point where like I was kind of done with it, and I was ready to move on, and I got new opportunities, and I was leveling up, and I was like, this isn't it anymore. And so I just had to like walk away from it. Sometimes that doesn't always mean that like you wasted all that time. Like, I don't look back and think, oh, like I just ended that. And like, whereas maybe in the past I had big visions. Like I thought, oh, maybe like, everyone's gonna get this magazine or subscribe to it, or I don't know. I think, you have these crazy visions and you get to see things, come into fruition, and you're appreciative and you celebrate how successful something is. But sometimes you're like, okay, no, I don't want to put energy into that anymore. I'd rather this area of my life to have more energy, or I want to have my vision of success for this or for myself has changed, so I'm moving in this direction now. Sometimes you just gotta let things go. It can be really hard though, because we can get really attached to that identity or that part of ourselves. So maybe this is you being really attached to who you were, maybe when you were married to somebody or dating or with someone. A breakup is a loss. You gotta re-identify here. Maybe this is, you put a lot of work, a lot of effort in, you're getting like a lot of abundance from it, but you're like, I need to walk away because it just doesn't feel like it's me anymore. Like walking away from a job, and maybe this is something long-term, a long-term relationship, a long-term commitment, a long-term job. So there's this message coming through about how do we gracefully flow or transition, out of something that we gave so much to. How do we gracefully flow and transition into becoming a new version of ourselves? That seems to be like a huge theme in today's reading. That's what being authentic is all about. You can't hold yourself hostage to who you used to be or old decisions you made when you were like 21. You got to allow yourself to change. Maybe you thought the way you were living your life or this career path or this vision you had for yourself was it for a long time, but maybe now you've changed. Maybe now the world's changed, and maybe like you're done with this. It's time to move forward. So that's hard. Sometimes it's also embracing uncertainty, because you might be like, I don't know how I'm going to make it. I don't know what the next choice I'm going to make is going to be, or I don't know what I'm going to build next, or I don't know what I'm going to do still paying student loans for something that I'm not using anymore, that kind of stuff. I hear it all from people I coach and do tarot readings from, and I've been through this kind of stuff too. Shedding the old identity, becoming a new version. We're endlessly doing that in life, just like how the snake sheds its skin, and look, here's the self-care card. It's saying this is self-care too. Sometimes self-care isn't always bubble baths and gua sha and Pilates. Sometimes, self-care is saying, okay, let's open up to something new. Let's try a new chapter. Let's try a new path. Let's try a new version of me. Let's end this chapter. Let's close this chapter. Like me, when I decided to walk away from doing that magazine. It's so funny. I forget about that chapter of my life sometimes. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember I was stressed about that. I remember like I was so worried. Oh no, like all these people who were involved, and I thought I was going to do this forever or whatever. It was hard just being like, okay, we're done. Bye. Move forward. Sometimes it's awkward because people see you do that too. They're like, oh, hey, how's the blah, blah, blah going? And you're like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Oh, cool. So what are you doing? I don't know. I don't know who I am. I'm scared. I'm in a transition. That was a big choice for me. It's okay. Look, we all going through this, different times in our lives. I love hearing those like stories from, gosh, I forget what this guy's channel is, but it's the guy that goes around and interviews all like the millionaires and billionaires and asks them like what they did to become successful. And look, sometimes those people should not be glamorized, because sometimes what you do to get to the top is not always pretty. But there are genuine people out there who've, made some really cool moves and created some amazing opportunities for themselves, done it in a great way. Anything's possible, but I like listening to those sometimes, just to hear like the life advice, the level up advice. And what you end up hearing a lot of times is that these people have basically cut out anything that didn't serve them, that they left a lot of jobs and situations behind, that they had, 5 failed businesses before they got the one that took off, that, they had people that didn't believe them or that didn't support them. Sometimes even in their own family or their own friends, they lost things that sometimes some of them had filed for bankruptcy before. Some of them like had lost so much, or they made a bad deal or something. I love those stories of the people who keep going. They come back from that. They keep learning, they keep growing, they keep showing up as themselves, I think that's part of the message here that's really coming through, is that you're on this path to become more authentic, and maybe right now it's causing you to make like a really big choice, or like to give up something really big and something to do with your environment. And it reminds me of leaving behind a career, or leaving behind a certain path, or something you've been a part of for a long time. But I feel like for some of you guys, there's already an opportunity on the other side. So you already have a landing pad. You already know it's going to be okay. You're already excited. You're like, oh yeah, I got the visa and the job, and I'm moving here, or I just got approved for this thing, or it's something exciting, but it can still be a little scary. You know what I mean? Because it's just leaving so much behind and taking a risk to be authentic. Supposed to be lifting your spirits. There's this message, you have courage. Yeah. I mean, gosh, when I was just looking at those cards that were out there just a second ago, these ones, I was like, wow, you really done the thing, I just feel like you've been through so much. Like I was looking at that and I just kept feeling all this history, like the timeline, 6 years, 5 or 6 years, 10 years, like you grew so much. Like there's still a lot returning to you, which like you're going to go in a different direction now. And I was like, that takes a lot of courage to leave behind maybe something that was going well for you, or that was successful, or that was just kind of like predictable, in order to be more in alignment with something you want. Who you are. There's this message to believe in yourself. I have been friends with enough artists that I have seen, and I'm old enough now to where, this is actually kind of cool. I'm 35 years old now. I've been friends with enough artists, enough outcasts, enough dreamers, enough believers to see that the people who actually stuck with it and believed that they could, I watch things happen for people. I have some friends who are in some pretty high positions in this life, in this world, and have gotten some incredible manifestations. I've watched people on their journeys level up hard. I've had some clients I've walked with as they've leveled up, even in my own life. And I've just come to see that if you commit yourself, if you're stubborn, if you continue to show up and you continue to believe, because that's what it takes. So you got to really, you're not going to show up if you don't believe in yourself. Eventually you're going to get something returned to you. You're going to get your celebration. You're going to get your rebirth era. You're going to get your glow up. You're going to get your snaps, you're going to get your accolades. You're going to get that abundance. You're going to get that position. You're going to get what you're looking for. Responsibility, the ability to respond. You want something, you have a desire, respond to that desire. Go get it, be consistent, keep working towards it. Every day. That's what magic is. That's what manifestation is. All it is being like, you know what, I want this, let's go get it. Let's make it happen. Let's stay focused on it. Let's keep thinking positively about it. Let's plan it. Let's map it out. Let's visualize it. Let's feel it, dream it. Let's be it. Let's just make it happen, Instead of letting life happen to you, it's like, I'm happening to life. Let's go. Reach for the stars. I love that. I think this is just reminding you, don't forget, you have the ability to manifest. You have the ability to shift out of this. You have the ability to alchemize this. If you're like feeling powerfully depressed or powerfully angry or powerfully pissed off, you can push that energy forward into something positive. So powerful energies, powerful emotions, people who feel things deeply are powerful. You just got to learn to channel it. Got to learn to channel that passion, that energy, that drive. Let these energies well up and then go push them out. Alchemy. That might be your quiet strength. So what is your quiet strength? A reminder of inner power or hidden resource. Man, I'm getting passionate. I'm getting charged up. I love this. I was feeling like just getting into it with the cards today and doing really long readings. Yep, they're saying trust your instincts. You know, that's something you always have, is like you have a really strong relationship with yourself, your intuition. I feel like maybe you're the kind of person who's always seen yourself as very intuitive. Maybe you have a spiritual practice, or just like you have a strong connection with your inner self or your higher self. So I see, like, you know, continue to be faithful to that. Like whenever you work towards your desires and you give to yourself, I see your outer world becoming so rich around you. It's almost like, don't forget about yourself. Don't neglect yourself. Don't put yourself last, is a message here. And here's this message. You're getting ready to have a very extroverted period in your life. Maybe you've been thinking back in your past about a lot of regrets and stuff, but your life isn't over yet. There's still so much yet to happen. And, you know, some of the problems you have today are going to seem a little minimal as you move forward. And look, some of you guys, like maybe you're coming here after somebody passed away or something crazy happened. Look, I'm not ever going to minimize that, but I will say it's time does heal. As time, you know, moves on, things kind of do get easier. There's this message for you that some of the regrets you have right now, you're going to see this in a different light. You're not going to be as hard on yourself. You're not going to feel as down. You're not going to have so much regret. You're not going to be carrying so much shame. But yeah, you got to process it. You got to kind of wallow through it. You got to figure this out. Only you can pick yourself back up from this. So, but you don't have to do it alone. You know, so there's a message too. Bring other people in. Bring friends in. Like, you got other. Look, we all have our own crap we're going through. You know, stay away from toxic people or people that make you feel uncomfortable. Listen to your body. But sometimes isolating yourself when you're going through and feeling down isn't good. You know, I'm glad you came to this reading, but don't forget, you can always just go hang with a friend. And sometimes you don't want to just trauma dump everything, but you never know. If you ask someone, hey, like, can I talk to you about this? Or you share, you never know. They might be going through something similar. So there's this message too coming out, like, I see you reaching out for support, and it's almost like there's other people around you that want to be reached too. So, look, I guess we did end up talking about your work today a lot. Work, future, choose. You have a big choice to make. You really do need to choose like what you're going to do for work or your future. And I think it's freaking you out and weighing heavy on you. And as long as you can just stay stuck in the indecision, or like, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, then it's like you never really have to move and make those challenges and like risk people seeing you like kind of humble yourself and start at the bottom, risk failure, risk just changing your mind and everybody seeing that, risk giving up. I don't know, risk losing it all. I don't know what it is. At the end of the day, it's like, it's okay. Whatever happens, happens. Might as well try, you know, might as well have some fun. Build. I think there's this message that like the energy's clearing, the planets are changing and shifting, and soon, you know, almost like after this full moon, we have a full moon coming up. I think it's in Aquarius. And then I think after that, like a week later, Mercury's direct. They're like, get ready to build, basically. Get ready to build. The next few weeks, the energy clearing, planets chilling out, space for you to build. It's like you're all going through this right now for a reason. You have to get clarity on what you want and get ready to build it. Yep, loss. We're always talking about that on this channel. Like, to be real, this is a channel where we talk about loss. We talk about loss, we talk about grief. We're picking ourselves back up from it. We're healing from it. We're being transformed. This is also a channel, though, where we talk about love. Because that's how you heal. Love for yourself. Love for others. Acts of love towards your body. Acts of love towards the earth. Acts of love towards others. Good energies. Focusing more on the love around you and in your life. You're going to get more of that. You're going to receive more of that. Appreciation. Oh, man. Gratitude. Look. Some days I wake up and I just let the day take me, and I just end up having a breakdown. The days where I wake up, I do my little gratitude, my affirmations, my journaling, let myself sit with my emotions, but then also like reaffirm what I want to think, feel, believe. Those are the days I feel better and I don't have breakdowns. You might need to bring more love and appreciation into your life, You have this ability within you to put your focus on that at any time. To be honest, today was one of those days. I woke up feeling kind of crappy this morning, but then I decided to put some love and appreciation to my body. Because I woke up really bloated today and was like, oh my God. You just start spiraling. You don't feel good. You start saying bad things about yourself. You start just I don't know, you get triggered. I had a weird dream. I don't know. Sometimes you got to just get grounded, wake right when you wake up, Send that love, that appreciation, kind words to yourself in the mirror. Self-love, self-acceptance. I went in the bathroom and I did gua sha on my face, and I actually did some dry brushing, and it helped me feel better. I de-bloated a little bit. I drank a bunch of water. I did my tea and some of my herbal stuff, and did some stretching, got a little sunlight, and then bam, don't judge yourself for the second you wake up, right? Wake up and love yourself. Wake up, appreciate yourself. Practice that more. You have the ability to shift yourself and shift your energy just by doing that. I feel like something you've been gifted recently is feeling more passion, feeling more of a positive energy, feeling more basically what I'm trying to say is you're getting closer. You're very, very close to narrowing down what your desire is so you can make that choice and move forward. I feel like it's something you're being gifted with. At different points in our life, everybody's life path is different and unique, but sometimes at different points in your life, you get a different calling, or you get a different passion, or you get, a different goal. And it's nice when you know what that is, and when you know what your goals are, or your goal is, what you're working towards, you have a sense of purpose, whether it's a purpose you feel like you were born here with, or just a sense of purpose you're giving yourself. It's nice. It's like that spark, that spark of life, that, that calling that moves you forward. You're close to that. You're receiving that right now. You receive those aha moments a lot of times when you're feeling down, when you're feeling low. I was saying in another reading that you have to sometimes go down the depths to get the pearls of wisdom, your inspiration. Yeah, allow yourself time to process. You have time to process right now. For a lot of people right now, it's summer. Perfect time to process, play, not put too much pressure on yourself. I feel like there's something about someone here who's watching, you're going to be able to move and set boundaries. Maybe your living environment or situation is just not giving you the privacy and the space you need to grow in the way you want to grow right now. You're going to take care of that, Maybe for some of you guys, there was this betrayal you had recently you're trying to heal from, and it's you're learning to take the lead and be you know what? I'm not going to let myself be betrayed again. I'm going to go out and love harder and do better myself in relationships, but I'm not going to let that get me down, This right here, some of you guys right now are building confidence and just letting yourself show up and take up space. You're allowed to live, you're allowed to take up space, you're allowed to be a person, do your thing, have your own hobbies and special interests, change your mind, be whoever you want to be, show up however you want. You can change, Some of you guys are feeling indifferent. You're just feeling I don't even know what passion is anymore. Maybe you need to get your hormones checked. Maybe you need, to work on the diet. Sometimes finding a passion for food again, healthy food, cooking, nourishing your body, getting lots of colors, smells, indulging in those little fun things in life. kind of wake you up and make you feel passionate again. Anyways, I'm just kind of flowing now. But I guess the answer to that final question for you, your quiet strength, your hidden resources, I think this is just about awareness of where you're at right now in your journey, the choices you're getting ready to make, and also what you're getting ready to receive. You know, look, gifted calling. I love that. I hope this message resonates with you. Thank you so much for coming to my channel, and I will see you next time. Peace out.